Hello, welcome to another episode of The Thriving Artist. I am Dawn Tracy, and we are here. I am a creative talking to other creatives about their challenges and successes and glimmers and triggers. And today, a person who I barely recognize in the parking lot because his hair is longer than I've ever seen before in our short tenure together, I have Mr. Harold Dennis, or as he is known in the interwebs, the hardest working man in showbiz. Woohoo! Insert applause and laugh track and all of that. And I'm going to let you say a couple words to La La Land or TV Land or Audio Land or wherever we are.
I only have a couple words. Thank you for having me, and I'm glad to be here.
He has more than that. Harold and I kept crossing paths at industry events, and I got the pleasure to experience your teaching firsthand at Filmscape, where I watched you. And I can't remember her name, but it was a young lady that had an original piece, and you gave her different ways in which to deliver it. And I think it took up the whole time, but it was just a transformative experience seeing her from her initial delivery and then your coaching throughout. And then of course we are Instagram friends, and I saw that you recently won an award. So let's start there. And I know you want me to say the award.
The Miguel L. Nunez.
Miguel A. Nunez Jr. Legacy Presence Award is the full thing. And it's a big deal. Screen Magazine promoted it, and you had a lovely picture with Caesar fade. So tell us how you got the accolades that you so very much deserve. But how did Chicago finally take notice of all your cinematic accomplishments?
Well, thank you. Well, yeah, it's the Jones Awards. Jeremy Jones, a guy that I bumped into a few times over the years, out of the blue, sent tagged me on a Facebook post saying I'm nominated, and I was like, oh, thanks. Like I was saying, I appreciate awards for the recognition because I've been doing this since early 1997, and I've been nominated personally about that was the fourth nomination on an award, and I've won one prior to this back in 2012. So the recognition is good because I've been, like I said, 1997. Been training in classes for over 20 years and teaching for at least 15. So it's good to get up every day and work, and then someone says, "Oh, we see you." Not that that's important, but it is important because that's the nature of the industry. And so my whole idea is to touch my audience. How do I get my audience to feel?
Mhm.
And so I asked the question back in around 2002, how do I get my audience to feel? Then the answer came, through classes and through this book I read, Story by Robert McKee, screenwriting. I read that book back in 2002. I was like, if I know what the screenwriters, the proper way to write a screenplay, when I look at these scripts, I can tell what's missing and how I'll know what the screenwriter is supposed to write. And so by reading that, I found things that help me do techniques as an actor, like turning scenes, and it's a universe, and I'm the sun, and I nurture the other characters, planets, and other things. And so I just incorporated those things in my acting and teaching, along with I studied with this guy Ted Sarantos for 18 years.
I remember Ted Sarantos.
Yeah, he just passed earlier this year,
Oh.
late 80s, and he had taught for over 50 years, and I stayed with him for 18. And it was because I didn't have to pay; it was free. He says 3 hours of
He
class,
always gets the hookups.
3 hours of cleaning. So I spent my Wednesdays with him for 6 hours for almost 18 years. Yeah.
Wow.
And along with other classes, I was taking Meisner, went through all 5 of those levels. And at one point, I was sitting in 4 classes a week along with life. And I was like, this is too much,
That
back in
that is a lot.
2011. Yeah. And so I just entrenched myself in the industry. So when somebody recognizes that, I appreciate it.
Okay, speaking of, you've mentioned teaching, you've mentioned acting, but you also have a film production company, correct?
Yeah, 99 Films on the Wall Film Company. And it's still in development. I do get a lot of producer credits, so I just tag that along with it. Yeah.
It,
Like I just produced a short uh, 7-minute film that's starting to move around. It's called The Red Line Prophecies, whereas it's me and a camera, and I'm on the red line. And
well, not the Soul Train, the
oh
Red Line,
no,
Red
the
Line.
red line,
Mm.
and I'm talking to the crowd. When the YN wants your cell phone, give it up, give it up, give it up. Just talking to strangers, and
Mm.
so it's I didn't write it. Jeremy Collins wrote it, and we shot it this spring, and so it's in that urban film festival that's coming up over in Hyde Park, and the guy hit me up, was ready to give me an award already.
That's good.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah. So I'm like, so I think it's award season for me at this point in my life.
You're
Yeah,
you're getting your flowers,
yeah.
and that's a wonderful thing for any actor, any artist. But you're multifaceted. If an alien came down and said you have to choose one, you have to either be an actor, an acting teacher and coach, a film producer, director, da 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 da. Which path would you choose? Which one do you love the most?
Well, I think that's a great question because my buddy, I started acting troupe with the guy Kenny Young back in 1998, and we were sitting around. He says, "HD, what is it that you want to do? Do you want to do plays? Do you want to do film? Do you want to do TV commercials? What do you want?" I says, "I want to be in people's movies," and that was in 1998, and so I kept that in the back of my head all those years, and so that's what I wanted to do was act in film. So I'm very specific. The plays I have done. I did a show back in 1998 before we could find the films, before there was internet, right? Called "I Was There When the Blues Was Red Hot." Because I couldn't find the films and I was still green, I jumped in this community play and stayed with it 171 shows every Friday, Saturday night over at the Palm Tavern. And I
That's
was very happy back
that's
then too. I was
dedication.
very happy. Yeah, I'm acting. Plus, I started over at ETA taking the classes, and so yeah, it's definitely actor and film. Yeah.
I think just stage plays in general, it's a completely different level of commitment. And even though it was 171 shows, you said, I think.
Well, yeah, we really did the show last spring or summer over Kennedy King College, whereas I did 3 shows, so it's like 174 now.
So but each show is different. You
Oh,
find
it's
something
it's
different
the
in
same
each.
play with a bunch of characters, but yeah, you don't know what
Yeah,
to expect. Yeah,
yeah,
because it was an interactive thing with the audience.
yeah. I do miss theater a little bit. I miss theater. And speaking of which, so when I pulled up, I asked ChatGPT about you, and they're like, "Do you want a short, medium, or long bio?" And I'm like, "Give it all to me." And it's like the first thing that came up: you're a veteran actor, so many IMDb credits. And we whore ourselves out at times for IMDb credits. How many credits do you have at present?
I don't know.
You don't
I
know?
don't know. It
We're gonna
could
have to fact
well
check it and then put it across the screen or something
uh,
because it'll change between now and the time this comes out.
yeah, yeah. Other than acting credits, I think it was said something like 234. Yeah.
Whoa, you're getting close to one of my coaches, Glenn Moorshower. He has 280,
Hmm.
and he's been in everything.
Well, I will say that.
I need to rub your belly. Rub your belly for good luck or something.
Yeah, I'll say 99 Films on the Wall. Uh, uh, Years ago, early 2000s, I was like, I discovered IMDb and I was like, what is this? And then I said, because I got a film credit on there, I was like, oh, it'd be nice to get 5 credits. Then I got 5. It'd be nice to get 8 credits. Oh, I looked at IMDb every day since 2005,
What was
imagining
so
having more
obsessive?
credits. Yeah,
But it's visionary too.
yeah. And so I used to say, then I finally says, it'd be nice to get 100 IMDb credits. And I think 10 years ago, I got them. Yeah. And so in the last 10 years, I got another 100.
That is a lot. I do it for the love. I think I have 6 IMDb credits, so I got a long way to go. I better get cranking on these.
Well, there's the secret.
On these podcast episodes. We're gonna shoot 3 every day or something like that. You are known for, and I quote, versatility, commanding presence, honesty, and nuance.
Chat GPT, thank you.
Is there anything that you think Chat GPT left out? What would you say is your appeal? I mean, obviously, you're a nice guy. I always got that from the first time that you snuck me behind the Midwest Film Festival's snack room. I like snacks. And you're a genuinely nice person. That was my first impression of you, but people enjoy working with you. I was surprised when I came here to Cine City. I saw you in Vince's film. I didn't expect to see you here, but you were there. And what do you think keeps you so ingratiated with people? Why do people love you and love to put you in projects?
Well, I don't know exactly, but I think that I love, from day, I still have that same love for what I do that I had when I first sat in my first class at ETA with the late Coral Harold Johnson. It's my first acting teacher. I started off as an extra because it's a long story. I saw my high school band teacher.
We got time. GC's like, no, we don't. We don't have time.
I'll try to speed it up. I saw my high school band teacher in The Fugitive, and he had lines with Harrison Ford, older guy, trombone player, jazz trombone, John Watson Sr., and a high school band teacher. And I looked up, he was in The Fugitive back in '94. I'm like, how'd that happen? And then he ended up in Groundhog Day, Hoodlum, and then Soul Food, the movie. He was Uncle Pete, the guy that came out with the money at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, Mr. Watson doesn't live on the coast. He's right here in Chicago. Mm-hmm. If he can do it, I can do it. Because it's always been something that was impossible growing up, I didn't think it was possible living in Chicago. I thought you had to live in LA or something like that. And once I saw him, I was like, okay, where's the movies at? Where's it at? Where's everything? And then I heard a ad on B96, be an extra in the movies back in '97. Be an extra in the movies. Karen Pete Casting are looking for background.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah.
Karen Pete Casting.
And I wrote that number down.
What happened to her?
Yeah, like Holzer and Ridge, all those extra agencies. Yeah, they're gone now. Yeah.
So now it's just like 4-Star, Extraordinary, and Joan Philo, I think.
And Joan's been around a long time. Yeah.
We're not gonna say it like that. She'll probably be mad.
Well, no, she's still here. She's a veteran.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she's a vet, seasoned.
Yeah.
So you listened to B96. That was your first mistake. No, you listened to B96. And you heard the ad. You wrote down the number. You called.
I called it.
And they're like, sure, you have a pulse. You have a face.
No, so what happened was they sent me a application in the mail and said send a Polaroid picture back.
This was back in the day.
So it took some time for me to send it back, right?
Yeah, you couldn't email. Yeah, they couldn't email the application because the interwebs did not exist. Yeah.
No, it's amazing. And so after a month I did it. And then a couple of weeks went by and I'm like, I haven't heard anything. So I called and says, I want to be an extra in the movies. And he said, well, call back in a couple of weeks. We may have something. Say you want to be put on the list. I was like, oh, is that the secret? And so I called back. And my first gig was early edition. Yes.
That had just popped in my head because I would call the Illinois Film Office. Remember that recording? Did you ever call the
No, I didn't.
So there was a recording back in the day. There was a recording where you can call and they tell you the product. And I was on the episode of Early Edition with, I want to say Tone Loc was in that episode.
Tone Loc.
Is he still with us?
I think so. Yeah.
I think Coolio is the one that, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but yes, okay. So continue. This is so nostalgic. I love it.
And sure enough, they called me in, and I was a featured extra my first time out. I was like, I didn't know what that meant, you know. I had my little earring.
A little bit more money. A little bit.
I guess. I don't remember.
Teeny tiny.
And so I was one of the extras in the restaurant, McGinty's restaurant, whereas we had on chef hats and we were auditioning to work at the restaurant. So we had to make a dessert. So we're standing in front of the table with our desserts, and the actor had to walk past and pick somebody. And so the actor that was playing the chef, and he was standing next to me. It was a row of us, about 5 people and extras and the actor. And they put the camera right in my face. And I remember looking, and I was in the studio somewhere on Roosevelt West. I was like, I didn't know they were doing all of that filming here. And I'm serious. And they put the camera in my face, and I was like, I had the biggest cheese.
You're never supposed, you broke the fourth wall.
I didn't look in the camera. I just did like this, like a goofy. I was like, I can't believe I'm here. And
did it feel like home?
It was amazing. But that was the first experience. And they put the camera over there, and way down there with the heavyset actor standing here in the. And so when it finally came on, I called my family all over the country. Says, I'm going to be on TV. I'm going to be on TV. Watch. And so when they showed the scene, they took that shot from way down there where the actor was in the way, and they got half of my face, and I was on screen for that amount of time.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, my sister called me from California and says, I saw you.
I saw your eyeball. I saw your eyelash.
Yeah. And so I did a few more episodes, and the one that I didn't see, people were like, hey, you're all over the screen. I'm like, oh, really? Oh, it works. But then I wanted speaking lines. And how impossible is it to stick around and be an extra for a long time and they pick you out the crowd? And so my buddy, I was talking to Kenny, the one who started the acting troupe with, he says, well, let's get some actors together and meet up. But before that, he even said, well, why don't you take an acting class? And I was like, that's a good idea. Where? Then he spoke of ETA on 75th and South Chicago. Mm-hmm. And so I had $300 in my pocket, and I went and sat in, and the choral was teaching the class. So I'm sitting in this first class, and I happened to get there the second class because it just started the term just started just when it came to me. And so I'm sitting there, and he says, we're going to do what we did last week, this week. And I was like, oh, cool. So I'm starting at the beginning of learning acting, you know. And after that class was over, I was nervous, you know, because we had to do something. I had to do a nonverbal exercise. So it went around, and I was the last one. And when it got to me, I did like this. And they had to guess, you're smoking a cigarette. I was like, yeah. And then one guy says, but your mouth was closed. And everybody laughed. And I was like, I'm going to do this the rest of my life. And so, yeah.
What was the reference to the $300 in your pocket?
That's what it costs to take the class.
To take the class.
I happen to have the money.
Okay, you had it in your pocket. I'm like, okay. And
yeah.
Did you make it rain in class, or what happened with the 300? I don't know what happened with it. I started on
and then a choral says, we don't have any men in the advanced class. He was looking at one guy. If you want to come to the class, come. He didn't say nothing. So the next week he said it to the same guy again. He says, but I don't have another $300. He says, don't worry about that. I was like, I'm there, you know. So I started off taking beginning and advanced for a school year, and I was like in heaven. And then by February, me and Kenny started an acting troupe. We got about 25 actors together, and we met every Saturday morning from 10 to 2. And we did shows. We were the acting up performance troupe. And 98 to 99. Then they kept going, and I left. I got involved in that play, did 171 shows. And this was all before 2000. So I was in heaven. I was like, I'm doing this. I'm going to do this the rest of my life.
You're a working actor.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot. A lot of actors aspire to be working actors. And they do it for the love, not necessarily the pay, you know?
Yeah.
The pay is
thriving artist, right?
Right. We want to thrive. We just don't want to survive. but that was a real life workout. And I know that you have procreated and you're a father as well.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you find time, I guess, like to make and raise children? And because
Do
it
all of
seems like
this.
you've spent a lot of time in the theater and in training classes. So how did you manage all of that?
Well, I'm divorced.
Oh.
Period.
Oh, well, that took a dark turn.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. But back in
the day, though, I remember.
wait. Would you get married again?
For years, I said no. But
And
my
now?
mother used to always say never. But for years, it's been no. But I don't know.
Oh, okay. But okay, so you were married, and you and your wife like to do the nasty. And how many babies do you have?
I have a son and a daughter.
Are they in the business as well?
No, I tried to get them in when they were young. But they were like taking them to ETA to the kids' classes on Saturday, and it was at the same time my acting crew was meeting. We met every Saturday morning from 10 to 2, and then the ex-wife would be like, "I don't want to take them this week." I said, "You got to take them." All right, I told people, "Okay, I'm going to leave the house and I'm going to drive all the way over to ETA, and then I'm going to come back."
Was she in the business?
No.
So she didn't understand.
No, she didn't understand. She thought it was a pipe dream.
And now are you like, look, I got 200 blah 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 credits.
Actually,
lady?
a decade ago, she says, maybe 15 years, she says, "I'm your biggest fan."
Okay, we're gonna have to edit out my comments because I almost said something. No, that's good. And what did you say to?
I didn't say anything, But I'm not. We're not here for all of that. So let's get back to the positive side of life.
We'll have a therapy session at some other time.
Yes.
Wow,
yes.
I think that's important. So you have your ex-wife, who's the head of your fan club. Who else supports you when you are high highs, low lows? Who's in your corner other than your babies? I'm assuming your babies are, but
well, there's just me. I got my noops. I got a tribe. I've got.
Oh my God, he stole my term because I call it a Thrive Tribe.
Yeah,
but that's trademark. So if you use it outside of here, I'll sue you.
I've got family. I've got family that loves me. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said it's just me, but then you said you have a family.
I am solo.
So you're like a self-sustaining entity?
Absolutely. For years, like I said, I'm a noob. I pledged. I worked hard for. If anybody knows, they know. If you know, you know. I pledged Kappa.
I don't know.
And I lived in the frat house. I did all of that, but it took some. I think that's part of my drive. When I went through that process.
The hazing
process. When I went through that process,
Did somebody kick you down there? Your voice went up.
No, that I teach up glides, down glides,
okay.
which I learned from Ted Sarantos. Make statements 100% of the time. When I went through that process, when I caught myself doing it, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
When I went through that process, it was life changing, and I'll say that it's like going to the army. They go to the army to be a man, right? The process will have you man up if it's done correctly. You walk away with a sense of accomplishment, achievement, and independence. And so I did that so many years ago, and so I can stand by myself and be happy, and I appreciate the people that support me as I move along. Yeah,
that's awesome. So who gave you the moniker, the hardest working man in show business? I thought it was James Brown.
Well,
he was he was the hardest in music.
He definitely.
He had a mean silk press. You could do one now.
Let me get up and do my thing.
Your hair's long enough. You can do a little silk press. But who gave you that moniker?
I was surprised when it popped up on my IMDB. I'm like, who? Where'd this come from? Because I thought I have to write my own monologue, and I never wrote my own monologue
Oh, you mean
description,
the bio
the
attached
bio
to
attached.
IMDb? Okay.
I was like, I thought I was supposed to do that. Somebody put that up there because I never wrote it for years because I says when I finally get to that, I want it to be perfect, and so I just left it alone. Then in 2008, that popped up, and I'm like, who wrote? I'm the hardest working man in showbiz. And so after I read it, this filmmaker I worked with back in 2005, Eric Battersby, the film was called Pyrite, and uh, I think one of the reasons he shot that is because he respected me at the time. Back in
He
05,
respected you back then, but
well,
not now.
he's out in Phoenix or somewhere. We haven't talked in years.
You need to call.
I guess I should reach out to him. He when he cast me, and that was from Perform Inc. before the internet. You look on Perform Inc. and find these auditions.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes,
And so
I remember that.
I found two feature films shooting, and I got cast in both, and they were shooting within the same 2-week window. I'm like, oh no! I remember going to Ted Sarantos in class, like, Ted, I'm casting 2 films. I don't know what to do. I'm
That's
worried.
A great
I don't,
problem.
I don't want it to, conflict.
Yeah.
I don't want the conflict. And he says, well, Harold, just relax. It'll work out. And I'm like, okay.
He was right.
And so there was one day in the 2 weeks where both films were shooting. They wanted me at the same time because I wasn't the main character, but I was a strong
Major.
supporting.
Okay.
Yeah. And same time, because I'd go to sleep, go film, and then go lay in the car and then go to the next set. I did that for 2 weeks. And then one night they both met. They wanted me at the same time on the schedule. And I asked the young lady, listen, can you move the date for this? And she's like, no.
Wow.
And I asked Eric, and he says, Harold, for you, yes. And I'm like, thank you. And so everything got done. Both films were done. And I guess he wrote
You
that.
remember that?
Yeah, he remembered that, yeah.
See, that's why people want to work with you. The dedication to sleep in your car and go from one set to the next. And I'm sure you were prepared. You were off book. You know your shit. You've done all the levels of Meisner, Second City, theater like that's why people want to work with you. How did you get on Vince's film? Because that was a period piece. And I'm gonna be honest. And I love Vince, and I will interview Vince. But when it was starting, I was like, oh. Ain't gonna be no black people.
Well, thank you. And then they had our guy as one of the main characters.
Yeah, I was like, oh, my brother, Wakanda forever.
Kevin, yeah.
Then, but I was like, oh, okay, that's Harold.
And he did a great job.
He
too,
did do a great job,
didn't he?
I'm still having nightmares from that.
Yeah, Kevin.
Loved it, but at first, like I'm like, oh, it's a period piece, so I don't expect to see people of color in
period pieces.
A period piece. But especially because it was Lovecraftian.
Absolutely.
And I believe he was a racist. I believe a lot of people said that about him. So I was already like, meh, or maybe I'll see one of us that got free or whatever. But I was happy to see people of color prominently in the film, and I was happy to see you in the film. So how did that happen?
Well, thank you for asking.
Back to you, Bob.
So when Vince was, he might have been a student years before that. I was doing a student film out in the west suburbs, and Vince was the DP, or he was doing something, producer on it, and we went out, and I had to catch the Metro. I think it was 2 weekends or something like that. And so one day before I got on the Metro downtown, I'd stopped in this smoothie shop and got a beet carrot smoothie drink.
I love beets.
And somehow I got some type of food poisoning infection. And so I got on that Metro, and I'm balled up, face swollen, and I'm feeling like ready to go out both ends. And I'm like, oh, I feel horrible, balled up on that. And I'm on my way to set to finish up the film, face swollen. And so I get there, and I'm like feeling terrible. And I think Vince says, oh, you take Tylenol or Benadryl.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, and it helped relieve my symptoms, and so
Diphenhydramine will do it every time. Yes.
I finished the film, and years later, I see Vince is shooting this film, and I was like, I remember him, and I want to work with him again because I always want to work with. Ted Sarantos used to say, work with the students because they grow up to be filmmakers, which I found to be true over the years, and I've worked with people over and over again, and so. But they weren't looking for anything but extras, and so the young lady that was casting the extras, I can't remember her name at this second. I sent my information, and I don't do extra work, but I was like, well, maybe something will come out of this. And so I went.
You were featured. I saw your whole.
I went on set.
Eyeball.
And yeah. And Vince says, Harold, we're going to give you some lines. I'm like, cool. And so it worked out, whereas I was doing, and then he wanted to call me back a second day, but that didn't happen. And so, but that's how I landed that film. Yeah.
Yeah. Surround yourself with good people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I know you've been here many a times. I've seen you at all the galas and the industry events, and Vince is just, I don't even know when that person sleeps because he is just so dedicated. Mm-hmm. But it's a good film, very creepy, very impactful.
I think I jumped once. I did jump once. I remember this man walking his daughter out because she had this frown on her face after that jump. I was like, oh my God.
That uncle was an asshole in that film. And I don't want to do any spoiler alerts, but I can't wait to see it again. I was surprised to see you in that, but it was great to see you that. If you had to pick one project, do you have a favorite?
No. Well, I used to say Pieces of a Dream for years because that was the first film that really gave me my confidence back in 2004. I did shot down in Alton, Illinois for 18 days. I played one of the main characters. There's 4 stories and they all intertwined where we all bumped into each other, but we all had stories. I had the first story. I played a priest accused of child molestation. Father is shepherd flocking. And
Flocking rhymes with
knocking.
Very interesting. Okay.
And so
knock on plywood.
And so that one really put me out there, and I was like, oh, okay, it worked. And so I also have another short that I did called Pear-Shaped, Where Things Go Wrong. It's a 17-minute film, and it's on Amazon Prime, and it's 3 episodes, and I'm in the 3rd episode called WBLS, Whirling Blue Lights and Sirens, whereas I'm just driving a car, and we shot it next door in Center Space on the stage. I'm driving a car with an army jacket on and dealing with PTSD, and the blue lights are behind me, the police. And I just deal with that and the PTSD. And it's a moving piece. It's so moving. And we did that back in 2018 or 17. Mm-hmm. And so when I was working at Second City for those couple years, I go in and the students look at me, what is this guy going to teach us? Because they're from all over the country, down south and everywhere else. So, they're looking at me. I'm like, so what I do is I let them talk for 2 to 5 minutes. And I says, well, it's only 1 minute. Keep talking. Because I wanted to know who's in the room with me, Mm-hmm. And then I'd talk about myself, and then I'd put that little 17-minute piece on, and everybody watch it. And after it went off, they says, Mr. Dennis, sir, how high should we jump, sir? So that's one of my favorite
I need
pieces
to watch
too.
it.
Yeah.
I need to watch it because I teach psychology, and we're about to approach the psychological disorders chapter, and maybe I can show it in class and rack up some views. Ooh.
I work over at the University of Chicago too. I do standardized patient work. I've been doing the SP work since 2004, which is 21 years. And one of the cases I've been playing over there, I did it at Northwestern, Loyola, different schools. One of the case I've been doing over there at University of Chicago since 2009, monthly, which I'll do not this Friday, but next Friday. I do a schizoid affect patient. So, 20 minutes in the room, They leave out 10 minutes of feedback. I'm typing in the computer, and I'll see 5 to 6 students a month since 2009. So I got the schizoid effect, you know. Yeah.
Schizoaffective disorder. You're doing the positive and the negative
Mm.
symptoms. I love stuff like that.
They have to diagnose me because it's a psych case. Am I depressed? Am I dealing with schizophrenia, bipolar, depression? You know, they have to diagnose me from my actions in the room. There's a scripted piece, whereas if they ask the questions, I have to give them the answers. But if they don't ask the questions, I can't give them the answers because they have to go out and write their report too.
That's really fun. I never even thought of that. That would be so much fun. That would be so much fun.
And this red line prophecies, I'm dealing with that too. So that's, yeah.
Oh, you have so much going on. So what's your passion project? What's on your bucket list?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, thanks for asking.
Thanks for asking.
I am interested in being the hero. I could be in any genre, you know. Just.
Are you interested in writing that for yourself, or?
Yeah, I'm actually. I just talked to this young lady about writing this feature film with just 2 characters, you know. So yeah, that I'm doing that, but in other people's projects too. I want to be in other people's projects, you know. That's how I started, and that'll always be the case. Because how am I going to get to 500 IMDb's?
Oh, that's the new goal.
Well, actually, it's still 300, but it'll be 500.
I'm trying to get to 10. I think I'm there once I put this in, but.
It could take a whole. Well, it's 300 right now. It could take a whole year for me to complete something of my own. You know, sending it around the circuit, going with it, and when I could do 10, 15 films in that year's time.
You are truly the hardest working man in show business.
I appreciate that.
So, in addition to people holding up the mirror and saying, "I see you," how do you take time to celebrate your wins? What do you do?
I keep up with my stuff online.
Other than watch Game of Thrones at 6 a.m.
Right.
What do you do for self-care and to recognize all your hard work?
Well, you know, I've been taking care of myself over the years. As of recent, a vibration plate, stand on it and shake.
I thought you were going to say something.
Take care of my lymphatic system. Intermittent fasting, 7-day water, herbal drink, tea fast, 4-day, 2-day, you know, those types of things. Eating once a day, eating, you know, within my little window, you know, in the evening. I like to shoot ball in the summer, you know, get out there and run, shoot ball, and, you know, eat right.
Yeah. Okay, I went to some kind of boutique gym yesterday, and it beat my body, but it had infrared lights and a lymphatic drums where you put every piece of your body on it. I'm all bruised and battered, but it felt good. But that's what I'm into now too, the lymphatic draining, because I'm holding on to toxins. I know it.
Absolutely, yes, yeah.
So that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
She had a vibration plate. I didn't get on it.
I love the vibration plate. I'm a representative.
Yeah, me too. I love vibrations too. But I think we have 2 different equipment. I do the rebounding. I do the mini trampoline that's supposed to be good for cleansing at the cellular and lymphatic level too. So
yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
That's really, really good. Now tell people where they can find you on Instagram, Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter, TikTok. What are all your handles that you want to share with the world?
Well, you can find me on any of those social medias: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X, at 99 Films on the Wall. The number 99 Films on the Wall.
Mm-hmm. And what night is your class? If they wanted to join your class, it's via Zoom.
Well, right now I'm doing one-on-ones. I was over the summer, I noticed people weren't showing up, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to stop right now. And so when somebody wants to do a one-on-one, I'll do that. So, but I was like, when it gets cold, I'll start back. So maybe at the end of the month or December, I'll start classes, and those are at my when I'm available. Like it could be any night of the week. and it's usually 2 hours. Yeah. So
Okay.
just reach out. If you want to do a one-on-one, we'll talk about it and set something up.
So you heard it. He said slide in his DMs on 99 Films on the Wall. It's respectfully, of course. And he will get back to you. And you do send it out too. Once you your followers, you send it out. Or should we contact your fan club president for booking information? Probably not. My last question though for you is, if you could go back in time and talk to your younger self, knowing the hills and valleys, the highs and the lows, everything you've been through, what advice would you have given your younger self?
Keep doing what you're doing, kid. You're on the right track.
Damn. Mic drop. Very simple. So does it feel good where you are right now? Yes. What you've achieved?
It feels very good. And it feels great. Now, there was an opportunity with John Singleton that I missed. You know, I traveled all the way to Lexington, Kentucky, to the film festival there back in 2002. And he's a Noop, I'm a Noop. The Noops were throwing the after party for the festival, so I jumped on the Greyhound from, I think I was in Mississippi, substitute teaching back then. And I had left Chicago and went there, and I went to Kentucky because I stayed there, and one of the Noops drove me from Louisville to Lexington, and I was there in the room. And so I was still green back in 2002. I had a 3.5 floppy disk with my picture on it, which was supposed to be the headshot, and 2 lines for credits. You know, I'm like, I'm gonna go meet John Singleton and hand him this floppy disk.
You've got the Boys in the Hood little. Didn't Cuba Gooding Jr. have the same?
He sure did. I think Lawrence Fishburne had a baby when.
Right, with Gordon Goodrow.
And so I got there, and there he was. And so when he walked past, I was like, "What's up, Noop?" He says, "Yo," I kept walking.
You didn't give him your floppy disk?
I'm almost there.
Okay.
And so then I saw him again because I wasn't going to sweat him. Even in my greenness, I knew, run up on somebody and charge him. And so I said, "What's up?" once more. And then finally, later on, I looked, there was a couple of people talking to him. I was like, okay, now's the time. And so as they moved away, I walked up and told him a true story about my son. They asked him, "What do you want to be when you grow up? You want to be a fireman, a policeman, and blah, blah." He says, "I want to be an actor like my daddy." And then John looked at me. He says, "Oh, you acting, Noop?" I said, yeah. He says, then I start name dropping, Kenny Young, Carl Seaton, blah, 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 1 week, blah, blah. And he says, yeah, I know them. And he says, "So you want to be in a movie?" I says, "Yeah." And so I went to reach for the floppy disk at that moment. He says, no, take my number. And I was like, "No, take this." And he took it. And that was the last time I heard from him. And I didn't take his number. I used to kick myself.
After we end, I'm going to kick you because what a talent. And he left us far too.
Did he? Yeah.
Too quickly.
Yeah.
What a holy shiznit. Wow. So that's the only regret. No regrets, but that one.
Right. But I've let it go. But
obviously not. We just processed. We just talked about it again. So he didn't really let it go, but damn. Well, it wasn't meant to be. That's
I wouldn't have gotten all of this training here from Ted Sarantos. I called him a master one time because the stuff that I teach is based on the 18 years of spending with him. How to make your audience feel something.
Wow. Okay. Well, I think we're at time. We're about like 40 minutes, I want to say. Thank you for working with me because we were supposed to do it last week when I was on set and like, can we push it back? And you were just so accommodating and I appreciate that. And thanks to GC and the entire family here at Center City, just a bunch of sweet people. Serena, who's not feeling great, so send her positive vibes. You can follow us on the Thriving Artists Podcast on Instagram. And I am Dawn Tracy. I am at the Blacktress on Instagram. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.